What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter from Panda here. Hey, just got this. It's a Conbro 1080p hidden spy camera, super night vision and motion sensor. I was really interested in checking this sucker out because it seems really small and seems like it's a camera that I could place in a lot of places that would give me a little bit of, stealthy access when I need it. Now, for a lot of you, you might want something like this as a nanny cam or a security camera, but you could also use it just for your everyday things, watching your kids, watching the backyard, potentially, all sorts of reasons to have something like this. Now, this Conbro unboxing here is going to include a card from them, a VIP card with a number, free software upgrades. So they do kind of a nice job of making you feel like you're really part of something special. Oh man, this thing is actually quite a bit smaller than I expected. So I'm just going to pull this out here. There's the camera, and then just open up this and just going to dump everything else out. So even more cards and whatnot in the box. I'm just going to put all this to the side. And let's see here. So what we have is a magnetic mount. Double-sided tape on this side. Looks like this is a ball joint, so we could mount it to something, and I think this is basically what it's going to connect to, just because it's magnetic. Don't want to get the big reveal away. We have a metal pin for, I think, probably resetting it. We have a micro SD USB basically jump drive, so you can put the micro or the SD card in here, plug it into your computer, and download those files. So that's kind of nice that it comes with that jump right there. The micro USB cable for powering it, and I don't know if this has some weight to it, that's for sure. And man, wow, this thing is actually, man, the construction on this is way nicer than I was expecting. Holy smokes. I mean, it's a metal construction, which is not what I was anticipating, and it has some weight to it. Not overly heavy, but because it's about the same size as one of those charging bricks, your charging block, USB charging block, I expected it to be plastic and have that same weight. It's definitely heavier, but definitely higher quality. So here on the back we have the USB plug, we have the micro SD card slot, looks like maybe a couple pinholes. I don't know if those are lights or for resetting. Nope, there's the reset button on that side. You can see how we have a black and a gunmetal type of finish. It's definitely pretty close to a cube, almost like a Steve Jobs next computer. So that's pretty nice. And then we have some cuts into the, what I assume is aluminum, and I assume that's just to help cool it off. They don't seem to go all the way through, so they're not vents, but more just like cooling fins. And then on the top we have a couple of arrow buttons. Again, not totally sure what that is, but I'll read the instructions to find out. And then on the front, we have the camera lens. So it should shoot 1080p. Now I'm going to plug this in, see if we could charge this up, read the instructions, and then set it up. All right, so I plugged in the Conbro here for a little while to get a little charge. I also have a micro SD card here, and it is a class 10. Now I don't know that you need U1, 2, or 3. Seems like any class 10 should work. It's only 1080p, so that should work. It plugs right in there. Now, when I formatted this, it says in the instructions to format it to FAT32. I formatted this to exFAT, and it seems to work. Now, what I want to show you here is that you can reset it by putting that pin into the reset button here. But to turn it on now, once I've got the formatted SD card in there, this is basically your power button and your record button. So if I just hold this down for 2 seconds, what I'm going to get is 3 flashing blue lights, and that is on and recording, I believe. And if I hold it down for 2 seconds, I'm going to get a flashing blue and red, and then it powers off and stops recording and writes the video to the card. Now this button here, once it's on, if I hit this is motion detection. So if I turn it on, and goes into recording mode, and then I hit this button for 2 seconds, it's going to show that red light showing that it's in motion detection. And so it's going to work kind of like a forest cam or something, and this is going to be really nice, especially if you really are going to use this as a spy camera to pick up any motion, kind of like a security camera. and then only have those moments captured. So instead of recording hour after hour of video footage, you can just record, you know, things that are moving around. So that's really great. To get off of this, you just hold this down for 2 more seconds, and you can see it goes to blue, and it should go back to regular recording mode. Now, I want to show you what else this does and show you the video quality. The other thing I will tell you about this is that it has built into it low light night vision sensitivity, as it says, super night vision. But the way it works is it just automatically, I guess, when it gets to 10 lux or lower, will switch over to night vision mode. And so you don't have to do anything with it, but understand that if it gets really low light, you're probably going to get basically a monochromatic or kind of a black and white display as it's using the night vision piece of it. Just like any of the other cameras with night vision that I've had before. And it may do that dynamically. When I was kind of walking between high light and low light situations, I noticed that the video, it seemed to kind of toggle between those modes live. Now let's take a look and see what kind of video it captures. Now I set the camera up here in my little studio, and as you can see, the first thing you'll notice is that there's no audio. Maybe you won't notice that, but I'm narrating over it because it doesn't record audio as far as I can tell. The lens seems to have a little bit of a fisheye effect, so you get a kind of a wider perspective, which is, I think, is great for a spy or security camera. You'll also notice that the time and date stamp is wrong. So what you want to do is use the micro USB cable to connect the camera directly to your computer, and that's going to allow you to reset those settings. I wanted to just set it up here in perfect lighting so that you could see what ends up happening in good light. Now, I also want to show you what ends up happening in low light, so let's take a look at that. Now I took the camera into kind of a dark corner of my basement, but I had the basement lights on, and here's where it kind of struggled between illuminating me with its infrared illuminator or using the ambient light, and as you can see, it's kind of toggling back and forth. So that's something to keep in mind, kind of in that in-between lighting. I also wanted to try to capture some video of me on the move, so I'm kind of running around here and going into different lights, and as you can see, it's transitioning between night vision and regular video recording, but it is picking up motion pretty well. Now lastly, I turned out all the lights in this room. There might be a little light leakage coming in from the windows from other rooms that are lit, but this room is completely dark. In fact, all I could make out were some of the corners of pictures and some of the corners of furniture that had a little bit of ambient light hitting them. The video recording actually shows far more detail than I could see with my naked eye, so it absolutely is pumping out infrared illumination and recording it at night vision. All right, guys, so let me just summarize here. I am straight up thrilled with this thing. Now there are some things that you got to remember about it, but for a concealable, small, portable, battery-powered, you know, camera that you can just drop anywhere that you need to, on the dashboard of a car, in your backyard, in a guest room, you know, wherever. I mean, I think this is amazing. Whether you're trying to figure out who's eating vegetables out of your garden, or if someone's breaking into your house, I mean, this has all sorts of really great uses, and it's so small and so concealable. I mean, you can really put it anywhere, on a shelf, under a car, you know, between books, and it's really, really very, very subtle. Now, a couple things that I want to point out that you have to keep in mind. One of the things that I've noticed is that as it records the video, it breaks it up into like 1/4 gig chunks, like 250 meg chunks, and then iterates on those videos. So you'll have like movie 1, movie 2, movie 3, and that's how it kind of continues to write to the card over time, especially if you're just recording live like I was here for the test. But if you do motion detection, I'm sure it's just going to drop in a video after every time it stops recording. So kind of keep that in mind. You'll probably have a lot of video fragments on the root drive of the SD card when you pull it out. The other thing is it doesn't have a microphone, so it's only recording video, which is, you know, just fine by my needs. But at 1080p, it's also not the world's greatest resolution. So if you're trying to get, you know, faces to be able to be recognized at a distance or something like that, you might have some issues. But I will say, in the full light, you know, the video quality works just fine. And I think where I'm most impressed is recording that room in total darkness. I mean, the night vision on this thing is really, really quite good. So I am really impressed with this, you know, combined with the little mount so that you can mount it and angle it however you want, and then the ease of being able to pop it in and out the micro SD card to convert the videos over, I think is fantastic. Great little form factor, great little camera. I'm definitely going to go and grab this when I need to have night vision, motion activated recording, which does happen out here in the woods. Check it out. I'll put a link to it in the description. The Conbro Mini 1080p Hidden Spy Camera, Peter von Panda. Out.